"You hate yourself so much," he said, wearing my face like a mask. "Let me be you, instead." I didn't scream. I wish I had. Screaming would have meant panic, and panic would have meant I still believed in my own reality. Instead, I just stood there, barefoot on cracked tiles, toothbrush dangling from my mouth, blinking at the version of me that wasn't blinking back. It started like most of my mornings, in a daze, with a hangover that wasn't really from alcohol but from regret and instant coffee. The cold kind. The kind you find still sitting in the mug from the night before, next to your laptop and a half-finished email you didn't send because too desperate felt too honest. My name is Siena, or at least, it used to mean something. Now it's just a name whispered in law firm corridors as a cautionary tale. The one who cracked in court. The one who trusted the wrong man and lost everything. Husband, promotion, her own damn parking space. I had exactly 42 minutes to get to an interview for a paralegal position. My suit was wrinkled, my resume still had the old firm's name in the footer, and my under-eye bags were auditioning for the role of emotional baggage in a rom-com I didn't want to be in. The radio played in the background while I forced myself into something resembling human. Some commentator was rambling about Mercer and Hale finalizing the Chiron deal. I used to sit in those boardrooms. I used to write those contracts. Now I can barely land an unpaid temp job. I didn't have time for an existential crisis. And yet, the mirror waited. It always did. Same warped panel above the sink, chipped on the bottom corner from where the last tenant probably punched it. I'd meant to replace it. I didn't. Like a lot of things. I leaned in to rinse my mouth. And she didn't move. My hand touched my lips. The reflection didn't follow. My heart stuttered. Once. Then again, I froze. The figure in the mirror, me but not, tilted her head. I hadn't moved. Her eyes were mine, but sharper, like someone had scrubbed the fear out of them and replaced it with something colder, hungrier. Then she smiled. No, not smiled. Grinned. The kind of grin that's too confident for the face I remembered seeing every day. The kind of grin that knows things I don't. "You're tired," she said. Her voice was mine too, but dipped in velvet and poison. "I can help." I stumbled back, almost knocking over the rusted towel rack. What the hell? She stepped closer. In the mirror. I hadn't moved. "You hate yourself so much," she said again. "Let me be you instead." I shook my head. No, this is a dream. Or a psychotic break. I've been stressed. I haven't been sleeping. "You've been fading," she interrupted. "One step at a time. Letting people walk all over you. Giving up, shrinking. I'm just the part of you that remembers how to take up space." I backed into the doorframe, nails scraping paint. "Who are you?" "I'm you," she whispered, but the mirror buzzed with something low and electric. "The version that doesn't cry when people forget your name." She placed a hand on the inside of the glass. I could almost feel the chill. "You don't want this life anymore, do you?" And that was the dangerous part, the part that made my throat tighten. Because I didn't know the answer. Was I still fighting? Or was I just waiting for someone to rescue me, or replace me, or let me go? "I'm not giving up," I said out loud, though my voice sounded like a lie. She smiled again. My smile, but crueler. "Of course you're not," she said sweetly. "That's why you've been talking to yourself in this mirror for weeks." My knees gave a warning tremble. I clutched the edge of the sink. "You're not real." "I'm not?" She leaned forward, pressing her forehead to the glass. "Then why do you keep looking for me?" A knock on the door jolted me out of the trance. "Miss? You're late for your appointment." My landlord. His voice muffled, disapproving. I blinked. The mirror showed me, just me, sweaty, pale, shaking. No confident eyes, no voice like velvet and arsenic, just Siena. I exhaled, ragged, half-choked, and forced myself upright. I didn't look back at the mirror, but I felt her there, waiting, watching, smiling. The building hadn't changed. Still sleek glass panels and ego-colored marble, like ambition had a texture. Still the same receptionist with the unnervingly perfect eyeliner who used to compliment my heels before whispering to HR about my tone. "Name?" she asked without looking up. "Siena Vale." I have a 10 o'clock. There was a flicker of recognition, the kind that makes your stomach knot before your brain catches up. She gave a polite smile like pressing gauze to an old wound. Oh, right. Of course. I waited in the lobby, smoothing wrinkles in my only decent blazer and trying not to sweat through my blouse. Every polished shoe that clicked by felt like a countdown. The elevator dinged. A familiar voice followed. Well, if it isn't the comeback queen. I turned. Aaron. Of course. He'd been the safe one. The one who offered quiet encouragements and always let others take credit, until he saw my downfall and grabbed the spotlight like a lifeline. Now he was partner track. And smirking. You look good, he said, doing that slow once-over people do when they mean the opposite. Considering what? I asked, even though I already knew. His smirk widened, all teeth and soft cruelty. You know, the headlines, the mess, everything. I forced a smile. I'm here for an interview. He raised his brows. Ambitious. That's the thing with polite people. They can break your ribs without ever raising their voices. The interview was short. Hollow praise, empty nods. A "will let you know" that already meant no. I walked out with a resume still warm in my hand and a migraine pressing behind my eyes. By the time I reached the cafe 2 blocks away, my legs felt like apology letters. I sat, stared at my untouched coffee, and watched the foam go flat. My phone buzzed. From unknown good performance. Maybe too good. They like you when you're broken. No number, no name, but I knew. The mirror didn't stay in the bathroom. That night, I stood in front of it again. Same cracked glass. Same yellow light flickering like it was nervous to witness what came next. I stared at myself, really stared. The under-eye shadows, the chapped lips, the weight of trying so hard to hold myself together while everything else pulled away. And then I cracked. God, you're pathetic, I hissed, dragging my hand down my face. You blew everything. Your marriage, your job, your reputation. You're just predictable, dull, nothing. You forgot bitter, came a voice behind the glass. She was there again. Veyr, wearing my face but now dressed like the version of me I sometimes imagined at 3 a.m, confident, composed, a little dangerous. I missed this, he said. Raw. I didn't answer. My hands were clenched too tight around the sink's edge. You keep trying to be someone you hate, he continued. Why not let me try? I swallowed hard. Why do you want to be me? His smile was slow and deliberate. Because you're so very close to giving up. And I'm good at being people who are already halfway gone. I'm not gone. He tilted his head. Then why do you talk to me more than anyone else? That hit deeper than I wanted to admit. He leaned forward, fingertip tracing the inside of the glass, like he could cut the surface and step through. Let me make you powerful again. Sharp, desired, respected. You'll feel nothing, no regret, no pain, just peace. It sounded tempting. God, it sounded easy. To stop carrying the weight of myself. To let someone else handle the disappointment. The proving, the pretending. I wouldn't even need much, he whispered. Just your name. Your life. A little emptiness to call home. My breath trembled. And what would be left of me? His expression didn't change. Nothing painful. I closed my eyes. For a moment I was already saying yes. Then I opened them. No? He blinked. No? He repeated, as if he hadn't heard that word in a long time. You want to wear my skin? I said. Earn it. He chuckled. Oh, Siena. You've got more fight left than I thought. And just like that, he was gone. The mirror showed only me. Pale, shaking, and, strangely, smiling. Because for the first time in a long while I'd said no to something. Even if it was just a demon in the glass. I didn't say anything special. That's what bothered me the most. I didn't prepare a speech, didn't rehearse it in front of the mirror. I just opened my mouth and the words came out. Crisp, cold, controlled. You'll fix the leak or I'm calling the tenant board. And if that doesn't work, I'll file a complaint through my legal network. And trust me, I know exactly which parts of your contract are unenforceable. My landlord blinked. He was a man who wore cheap cologne and expensive overconfidence, and for the past 3 months he'd ignored my calls about the mold creeping up my kitchen wall. But now? He nodded, muttered something about sending someone Monday, and scurried off like I'd just threatened to have him audited. I watched him go. My heart wasn't racing. My palms weren't sweating. I hadn't even raised my voice. It was satisfying. Too satisfying. Because 5 minutes later, back in my apartment, I realized I didn't remember exactly what I'd said, or how I'd said it. I stood in front of the mirror again. Same flickering light, same tired face. But I saw something else now. The tilt of my chin. The way my mouth curved, not quite a smile, but something sharper. I leaned closer. "You're welcome," said my reflection. I didn't jump this time. Maybe I was getting used to him. Veyr leaned lazily against the inside of the glass, arms crossed, wearing my face like it was his favorite coat. "You looked good out there," he said. Confident. Lethal. "That wasn't you," I said, though my voice wavered. He raised a brow. "Wasn't it?" I stared harder. His eyes, my eyes, glinted. A little too alive. A little too hungry. "What do you want?" I asked, softer now. He shrugged. "I want to help. No, you want to be me, and you want to stop being you. So why not meet halfway?" I stepped back. The tile was cold under my feet. "I didn't ask you to take over, and yet," he said, "you didn't stop me." That was the truth that unsettled me the most, because I hadn't. I hadn't panicked when the words spilled from my mouth at the landlord. I hadn't tried to shake him off when I felt that strange fire rise inside me at the coffee shop yesterday, when I made the barista remake my drink without apologizing for existing. I'd let it happen, because it felt good, because it felt like power, and I hadn't had power in a long, long time. "I'm not afraid of you," I said. It wasn't entirely a lie. Veyr smiled, my smile again, but with polish. "I'm not here to scare you, Siena. I'm here to show you what you can be." I turned away, heading for bed, but his voice followed me. "I can make people listen. I can get your job back, your life. Hell, I can make them beg to have you in the room again." I paused in the doorway. His voice softened. "Don't you miss being someone they couldn't ignore?" The next few days blurred. I didn't see him again. Not directly. But I felt him. In the way I walked into a networking event without clutching my bag like a shield. In the way I made eye contact, prolonged, intentional. In the way I didn't laugh at a male recruiter's joke about emotional women in law. Words came easier. Jokes were sharper, my spine straighter. People responded differently. They listened. And part of me started to like the version of myself I became in those moments. But another part kept whispering, "Who's driving this?" It wasn't until Friday night that I saw him again. I'd been feeling off all day, too alert, like my skin didn't quite fit. I stood in the bathroom brushing my hair when the lights dimmed and the mirror clouded for just a breath. Then he was there, sitting casually in my reflection like a cat in a sunbeam. "You've been busy," he said. "You've been quiet?" I replied. He tilted his head. "You didn't need me. That's a good sign. Or a bad one," I muttered. "If I'm turning into you..." He clucked his tongue. "You say that like it's a tragedy." I met his gaze. "You're not real. I'm real enough to help you win. You're not me." "No," he agreed. "I'm better." There was no venom in it, no mockery, just fact, or belief, or both. And the terrifying thing? I almost agreed. I leaned forward, palms on the counter. "You think you know everything about me," I said. "I do. No one knows me." He raised a brow. "I do. I know how you hated the way your voice cracked when your ex said you were overreacting. I know how you stayed late at work not because you loved it, but because being alone in your apartment made you feel disposable. I know how you rehearse every phone call, even with friends, in case you sound too much." My throat closed. He stepped closer, almost forehead to forehead with me, separated only by silvered glass. "I know every lie you told yourself to survive, and every part you buried so no one would leave." Silence stretched between us like a thread, and in it, something shifted. Not surrender, recognition. He knew me, because he was me, once, or maybe always. And somehow, that wasn't just terrifying. It was comforting. He didn't want to destroy me. He wanted to wear me. That night, I didn't turn the mirror to the wall like I usually did. I left it uncovered, and when I glanced at it before I fell asleep, I didn't see him. Just my own face. And for the first time in a long while, it didn't look like a stranger's. The woman in gray didn't blink. Not once, not through the entire 10 minutes we sat across from each other in the cafe. She stirred her tea clockwise over and over, even though she hadn't added anything to it. Her eyes were glassy, slate-colored, pretty in the way polished marble is pretty. Cold, smooth, lifeless. I didn't mean to start a conversation. I just needed a seat. But when she looked up at me with that oddly serene face, something about her made my stomach twist. "You don't sleep well," she said. I blinked. "Excuse me?" She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "The way your shoulders are curled. You carry your fatigue like guilt." I should have gotten up. I should have told her to mind her own business. But something about her voice was familiar, not the sound. The stillness. "I'm sorry. Do we know each other?" She tilted her head slowly, like she had to think about it. "No," she said. "But we've both looked in the same mirror." I froze, and she saw it. Her smile softened, almost kind now, like a ghost trying to comfort someone about to die. "I used to be very loud inside," she said. "Always second-guessing, always feeling too much. Until one day I was offered quiet, and I took it." I stared at her. "You made a deal." She didn't answer. But she didn't have to. "I didn't want to feel anymore," she said. "And now, I don't." I looked into her eyes again, and understood. She was hollow. Still beautiful, still poised, but hollow. Like someone had gutted her from the inside out and left the shell polished and walking. The silence between us stretched thin. Then she stood. "Be careful," she said softly. "Not all peace is real." She walked toward the restroom. I sat there for a long minute, then, against every ounce of instinct, I followed. The hallway was narrow, lit with cheap overhead bulbs. The bathroom door creaked when I pushed it open. Inside, silence. One stall closed. One antique mirror above the sink, carved frame, old silver backing. The woman wasn't at the sink. I waited. No sound, no flush, no footsteps. I knocked on the stall. No response. I opened the door. Empty. My breath caught. And when I turned back to the mirror, there she was. For 1 second. Her reflection standing where mine should be. Still, calm, gray. And then she was gone. The mirror showed only me. And behind me, flickering like a shadow, Veyr, leaning against the wall like he'd been watching the whole time. "She wanted quiet," he said. I gave it to her. No more fear, no more longing, just stillness. My jaw clenched. "You erased her." She asked to be erased. I turned to face him, but of course, there was nothing there. Just his voice in my bones. "She's at peace now," he said. "Isn't that what you want?" "No." It came out sharper than I expected. My hands were shaking. "I don't want to disappear. You said you were tired." "I am," I snapped. "But that doesn't mean I want to become a puppet or a shell or some whisper of a woman who used to care." The mirror shimmered faintly. His face reappeared in it, thoughtful. "Care is pain," he said gently. "It's human," I shot back. "And I'm not ready to give that up." He looked at me, really looked, and for a moment I thought I saw something close to disappointment. Or maybe respect. "You're more stubborn than I thought," he murmured. "Good." We stood there in silence. My reflection next to his. Almost the same. Almost. That night, I didn't cry. I lay in bed with my fists clenched and my mind loud, and for the first time in months, the noise wasn't terrifying. It was mine. And I was keeping it. The letter arrived in a thick, cream-colored envelope, with my name embossed on the front in stiff, aggressive font. Official. I didn't even need to open it to know it was from him. But I did. Petition for mental health evaluation. Filed by Ethan Vale. Reason, erratic behavior, emotional instability, possible dissociation. I read it 3 times and then once more just to be sure I hadn't imagined it. Attached was a QR code. I scanned it and watched a grainy video play on my phone. Me, In the bathroom, talking to the mirror, my hands waving, my voice sharp, then pleading, my reflection visible, echoing me, perfectly normal to an outside eye. But to the camera, it looked like I'd lost my mind. I dropped the phone. The floor felt far away. We'd agreed to no contact. After the divorce, after the settlement, after the scandal, he'd promised to disappear. I kept my distance. I didn't poke the wound, but now he wanted to bury me with it. He didn't just want to win. He wanted to prove that I was unfit, unwell, unstable, that I'd never been the victim, that I was just broken. I barely remember the phone calls, the panic, the lawyer I scraped together from a referral board, the court date set just days out. But I remember sitting in the hallway outside the courtroom, hands trembling, cold sweat under my arms, my own breath refusing to stay steady. And I remember whispering, in a voice so small I almost didn't hear it myself, "Please, I don't know what to do." The mirror across the hall was cracked and dirty, part of the building's original decor. I hadn't even looked at it until his voice curled up my spine. "I do." The world shifted. I don't know how else to describe it. It was like exhaling into someone else's lungs. I blinked, and I was standing. Straight, calm, sharp. Every nerve in my body felt like it had been tuned. And when I walked into that courtroom, I wasn't Siena the cautionary tale. I was something else. Something very familiar. "Ms. Vale," the judge said, "you're aware of the nature of this petition?" "I am," I answered. We answered. Voice steady, cool, measured. My ex sat across from me, smug in his tailored navy suit. He gave a small, rehearsed smile, the kind he used on juries and dinner guests. He'd rehearsed this, counted on my trembling, my emotional outbursts, my fragility. He didn't expect confidence. He didn't expect Veyr. "My client," his lawyer began, "has compiled substantial evidence suggesting Miss Vale may be a danger to herself, perhaps others. Here is video documentation of what appears to be a psychotic break." "Objection?" I said smoothly. "Speculation without a clinical diagnosis." The judge nodded. "Sustained." I didn't look at Ethan. Not yet. I wanted him to sweat. They brought up the video, played it on the screen. There I was, talking to no one, gesturing, crying, whispering. And then, I spoke. Everything I said in that recording, I told the judge, was part of a voice diary I was recording for my therapist. The camera angle is misleading. My reflection is irrelevant. Ethan sat up straighter. His lawyer began to protest. I pulled out a flash drive. "Here's a full audio copy of those voice entries, time-stamped and dated, including the one from that night. And here's an affidavit from my therapist confirming I've been in regular treatment since the divorce." Silence. Ethan's face reddened. I finally looked at him and smiled. Not cruelly, not sweetly, just enough. "Your Honor," I said, "this isn't about concern. This is about control. My ex-husband is attempting to weaponize my grief in therapy to further damage my career and reputation. I request the petition be denied and the record sealed." The judge nodded. Bang. Just like that. Done. I didn't leave the building. I floated out of it. Into the cold air, into the sun that didn't burn, into a version of myself I hadn't felt since long before the lies and courtrooms and headlines. But I knew it wasn't all me. And I knew who was still there, just beneath my skin. Back in the apartment, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror. "I didn't know you could do that," I whispered. Veyr's face flickered in the glass, calmer than usual, less amused, almost soft. "You asked?" he said. "I delivered. You made me look like yourself," he interrupted. "I didn't lie. I didn't change your words. I just cleared the static." I looked down at the sink. My knuckles were pale from gripping it. "I don't know what I am without you anymore," I admitted. He stepped forward in the reflection. "I don't want to be you anymore," he said. That surprised me. "I want to stay. But not as a shadow, not as a voice in your head or a secret in your mirror." I met his gaze. He looked like me still, but something had shifted in his expression, something vulnerable. "I want to stay," he repeated, "as someone who stands beside you. Not instead of you." A breath caught in my throat. He wasn't asking to consume me. He was asking to belong. And for the first time, I wanted that too. Not to disappear. not to surrender, but to share the burden. Together. The office smelled like money and ambition. I hadn't been in a law firm conference room in over a year, and yet the air still felt the same, sharp with printed contracts, artificial lavender air freshener, and silent judgment. The managing partner shook my hand. "We'll bring you back on a temporary basis. Project-based." I nodded. "That's fair. We'll see how things go." They always said that, but it didn't matter. I was back. My badge worked again. My email was reactivated. People offered cautious hellos as if I might bite or vanish. I walked past glass offices and whispered names. Some people smiled. Some stared, and I smiled back. Sharp, controlled, untouchable. But when I got home that night, kicked off my heels and looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman who waved back first. It started slowly, a hesitation before speaking. A phrase I didn't remember rehearsing slipping from my mouth in meetings. Eloquent, assertive, not quite me. Then came the dreams. Vivid ones. Standing in courtrooms where the floor was glass and everyone looked up from beneath it. Arguments I couldn't hear. Smiles that weren't mine stretching across my face. And then, waking up. Exhausted. Not the kind of tired sleep solves. The kind that sits in your bones like smoke. I stared at my reflection the next morning. Dark circles, static in my brain, hands trembling when I held my coffee. "I need a day off," I mumbled to myself. The mirror said nothing. That should have comforted me. It didn't. I avoided mirrors for 2 days. No morning check-ins, no whispered conversations. I kept the bathroom lights dim and the bedroom one unplugged. I wanted to feel normal, to feel like me again, without him. But the longer I resisted, the foggier things became. I forgot names mid-sentence. Dropped files. Missed deadlines. At one point, I sat frozen in front of my laptop for over 20 minutes, fingers hovering above the keyboard, not knowing where to begin. By day 3, my body gave out. Not dramatically. Just slowly. Like a phone losing charge with no outlet in sight. My legs were heavy. My thoughts scattered. My skin didn't feel like mine. The kind of emptiness I used to live in before Veyr ever appeared. But this time, it was worse. Because now I knew what it felt like to be sharp. And I couldn't go back to being dull. He returned in a dream. Of course he did. Standing in a hall of mirrors, every surface reflecting different versions of me. Some crying. Some laughing. One curled in a corner, whispering apologies to no one. And in the center, Veyr. His expression unreadable. "You're angry," he said. "I'm tired." "You shut me out? You were taking too much." He tilted his head. "Was I? Or were you just too afraid to admit how much you liked it?" I turned away from him, but every reflection showed him closer. I whispered, "I needed to prove I could do it on my own." "You have nothing to prove to me," he said quietly. "You were never failing because of me. You were failing because you hated yourself for needing anything at all." That stopped me, because I knew it was true, and I hated him for saying it. "You're not my cure," I spat. "I never said I was. I'm your mirror. You made me from everything you tried to hide. I didn't make you weaker, Siena. I survived because of your weakness." Silence. Then he added, voice low, "I'm not your enemy. You were—" I woke up crying. No loud sobs. Just wet cheeks and a pillow clutched too tight. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and whispered, "Then help me without hollowing me out." No reply, but when I stood in front of the mirror the next morning, my reflection looked a little clearer. Still tired, but mine. The apartment was dark, save for the light above the bathroom sink. Flickering, always flickering. I stood in front of the mirror, barefoot on the cold tile, wearing an oversized t-shirt that smelled like detergent and memory. My hair was unbrushed, my eyes hollowed by a week of no real sleep. But I stood tall, and for the first time I looked straight into the glass without bracing for war. "I'm not giving up," I said. My voice didn't shake. "If you leave, I'll still be here, even if I fall apart again, even if I'm wrong about everything." I placed my hand on the mirror's edge. "I'll still be me." At first, nothing happened. Then the reflection shimmered, softly, like ripples across silver, and Veyr stepped forward. But not in my shape. Not anymore. He was Familiar, and not. Still tall, still graceful, but his features were blurred at the edges, shifting gently like candlelight in water. Parts of him were undeniably mine. My mouth, my hands, my stance, but not fixed, not static. His eyes glowed faintly, not gold, not silver, but something in between. His skin shimmered with threads of shadow and light. Ethereal, unsettling, beautiful. He wasn't pretending anymore, and yet I felt no fear, only a strange, quiet ache in my chest. "You're not wearing me," I said. "No," he answered, voice deeper now, more echo than tone. "Not tonight." He reached toward the glass, and for a heartbeat I thought he would pass through it. His fingers hovered just behind mine. No contact, just reflection. "I wanted to be you," he said. At first, I nodded. "I know. You had so much pain and you held it like it was sacred, like it gave you meaning. But it only bled you dry." I exhaled. "You fed on it. I survived on it." His voice softened. "But then something changed. You started fighting back, started looking at yourself again. And for the first time," he paused. "I felt it." "Felt what?" "Everything." His eyes locked with mine, longing, rage, wonder, shame, hope, love. I blinked. "You felt love?" He tilted his head, like the concept still puzzled him. "I think I did. Or maybe it was yours, but it echoed in me, and I didn't want to let it go." My throat closed. "You don't have to." He frowned. "But I don't belong here." "You do if I say you do." Silence bloomed between us. Soft, full. His voice dropped, almost a whisper. "I don't want to be you anymore, Siena. I just want to be with you." The truth of it settled in my bones. He didn't want my life. He wanted presence, meaning, connection, something neither of us had known how to hold. Not until now. I raised my hand again, palm to the mirror. Then stay, but not as my shadow. Our fingers aligned. And for the first time since all of this began, the glass gave, not shattered, not melted, just softened. His hand pressed gently to mine, and though we didn't touch in the physical sense, I felt it. Warmth, weightless and grounding all at once. His other hand brushed the side of my face, no contact, but my skin tingled. "You've never looked more alive," he murmured. "Neither have you." The distance between us wasn't physical anymore. I leaned forward. So did he. The kiss wasn't real in the traditional sense. No lips, no pressure, but it was real. Because I felt it in every nerve. A pull that hummed beneath the skin. A connection deep as marrow. It wasn't about romance or lust. It was about being seen. Truly seen. Fully held. Reflected and not erased. When I opened my eyes again, he was still there. But quieter. Softer. Waiting. "You're not afraid of me anymore," he said. "No," I whispered. "I'm not." "And if I disappear tomorrow?" "You won't," I said. "You're part of me now. Not the broken part, not the dark, just the part I stopped listening to." His glow dimmed, like the moment had exhaled. He nodded once, and stepped back into the glass. My reflection returned. Just me. Hair a mess. Eyes tired. But me. And when I smiled, a quiet, honest smile, the woman in the mirror smiled too. Not perfectly, but wholly. The courtroom was too cold, too bright, and too full of whispers. I stood tall, blazer pressed, heels steady, hair pulled back, not severe, but strong. Across from me sat Leah Monroe, the same colleague who once smiled at my breakdown like it was a brunch story, the one who'd taken my old work, presented it as her own, and climbed the ladder I'd helped build. She looked confident. For now. But I had something she didn't. Me. And that made all the difference. "Miss Vale," the judge said, glancing at the document I'd submitted. "This file contains internal firm memos and draft contracts dated over a year ago, all bearing your original signature metadata." "Yes, Your Honor," I replied. "They were stripped of attribution and refiled under another associate's name shortly after I was removed from the firm." The opposing attorney shifted. I turned my eyes on Leah. She didn't smile this time. Her mouth was tight. Pale. Cornered. I continued. calm, measured. Mine, my client, my former client, I added with a glance at the jury, was unaware the materials she relied on came from a source with no legal authorship. I'm not here to punish her, but I am here to reclaim what I built. The courtroom murmured. The judge nodded. A slow, deliberate bang of the gavel. Motion granted. Authorship restored. Compensation to be determined. And just like that, my name was mine again. The sun outside was harsh and perfect. I stepped into the warmth like it belonged to me. My breath came easy. My hands were steady. There were no voices in my head. No buzzing in my skin. Just silence. But not the hollow kind. A silence full of breath and life and possibility. The kind I'd earned. I stopped at the corner of the courthouse, next to the reflective glass doors. My image stared back at me. Not Veyr. Just me. And that was enough. That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror one last time. No flickering light. I'd finally replaced the bulb. I ran my fingers over the cool porcelain sink, then looked up, really looked. My hair was loose. My skin still carried the flush of adrenaline. There were faint creases near my mouth I hadn't noticed before. I looked, lived in, and I liked it. "Thank you," I said. At first, no reply. Then, after a breath, Veyr appeared in the mirror, not as me, not as shadow, not as ghost. Just light, humanoid, but not fully formed, shimmering edges, soft gleam where skin might be, echoes of my posture, a glint of my eyes. Silent. I smiled at him. "You can stay." His outline pulsed, faintly. "But," I added, voice clear, "I'm driving now. You don't get to lead. You don't get to replace me. You're here because I say you can be." He tilted his head, amused. Still no words. Just acknowledgement. "And I don't need to be perfect," I said. "I don't even want to be. I just want to be real." He nodded. Behind me in the mirror, his image faded slowly until it became nothing more than a faint glow behind my shoulders, like a trick of the light, or a memory that had learned to stay quiet. My reflection remained, whole, flawed, present. The next morning I made coffee. It was strong, too bitter. I didn't care. I opened my laptop and saw 4 new job offers. Real ones. I ignored them for now. Instead, I pulled out a half-finished story I'd been writing at 2 a.m. 2 weeks ago. Part journal entry, part legal fantasy about a lawyer who out-argued the devil. I read the first line and laughed. God, it was terrible. But it was mine. When I left the apartment, I caught my reflection in the building's glass door. She smiled. A little crooked. A little tired, but smiling. And just behind her, barely visible like mist, a flicker of something watching. Not controlling. Not consuming. Just there, like a second breath. I didn't turn back. I didn't need to, because I knew who I was now. Not someone's shadow. Not a hollow echo. Just Siena Vale. Still here. Still whole. And finally enough.